I think as gamers we all have that one game. A game that every part of our brain knows is mediocre, but our heart says otherwise. And when we look back on that game, all we remember are those amazing one-of-a-kind moments. For me, that game is clearly Ubisoft's 2014 train wreck, Watch Dogs. Framed as this hyper-detailed next-generation open world, built with the intriguing angle of stepping into the role of a hacker. But at launch, it instead became the standard by which disastrous video game launches are measured. From downgrades, bugs to broken promises, on that front, this game really had it all. But over the years, in its 11 years of existence, this game has built quite a cult following, and modders have rejuvenated what Ubisoft failed to do. I count myself among its devoted cult following, revisiting the game at least once every year. Something about it holds a unique magnetism that pulls me back into it again and again. The true source of Watch Dogs' magnetism lies in its setting. Ubisoft's rendition of Chicago, in my humble opinion, is one of their strongest achievements in world building, something they genuinely excel at. The city just echoes Gotham, with its dark, gritty atmosphere, creating a sense of constant danger and surveillance. Even just cruising through the city or wandering its shadowy back alleys really drives that point home. It's tough to explain, but something about this open world just clicks. It hits the spot in a way most Ubisoft games don't. Now granted, visually during the day, the city can feel a bit dead and generic. But when night falls, it's something else entirely. When the skyscrapers and streetlights flicker on, it's just breathtaking to take in. The lighting in this game is insane. Like when you hit the blackout button on your phone that hacks into the city's electricity system and the whole city turns into a ghost town. Moments like that just stick with you. I'll give high praise here. The rain in this game makes it look as good as almost any open world game in 2025, with only probably a few exceptions. It's mind-blowing. Just so you know, I'm using a graphics mod in this video, something called Watch Dogs Reborn or something, but honestly even the base game looks amazing when it rains. What really surprised me this time around is how alive and real the world felt, thanks to the NPCs. Everyone acts differently, talks differently, and how they react and behave around you is impressive. They're all just doing their own thing, and I was surprised to see that in a 2014 game. Another impressive aspect is how varied the city feels as well. The game effectively captures Chicago's duality, contrasting the gleaming corporate towers of the Loop with the rundown high-crime neighborhoods of the wards. It also incorporates suburban and rural areas, and the world design remains impressively intact even today. As I said before, Chicago is a character in this game. Compared to Ubisoft's recent open worlds, this city clearly outshines them in world building. This game really reminded me again how much Ubisoft has fallen off lately. I know it sounds harsh, I genuinely miss this old Ubisoft. But don't let the looks and tone of this city fool you, this world is hollow on the inside. Beyond serving as a backdrop for the game's darker narrative, the world offers little in terms of substantive exploration or meaningful content. Sure, the game includes several recognizable real-world locations from Chicago, but offers almost no engaging side stories. Aside from repetitive fillers like unlocking CTOS towers, invading citizens' privacy, or clearing gang hideouts and some fun minigames here and there, there's very little to explore, and that's just sad. Because the gritty world and the hacking system letting you peek into people's secrets could have been used to tell some amazing little stories. But sadly, the game just doesn't go there. The most enjoyable part of exploring this world is walking around, profiling citizens, and seeing what they're doing. Some fixer contracts stand out, featuring impressive driving sequences, and the limited AR missions provide a visually striking, albeit brief diversion. I recently made a retrospective on Ghost of Tsushima before Yote drops, and playing Watch Dogs right after that game, the contrast is stark. Tsushima fully immerses the player with almost no HUD, whereas here, the cluttered interface and constant collectible prompts disrupt engagement in an otherwise visually impressive world. For context, I managed to platinum the PS4 version, enduring all the repetitive filler content in the process. Yet, the game's dark, gritty atmosphere is so compelling that it continually draws me back, demonstrating how much weight the world itself carries. However, what makes up for all that repetitive filler content is the gameplay. My god, this game is just a joy to play. and it all starts with Aiden Pierce. I mean, you know I'm gonna gush about his movement. He's so smooth to control, he's fast, the parkour system is just brilliant, and hasn't aged a single day. While this system is notably refined in the sequel, I still appreciate its implementation here. Moving him around just feels amazing. Vaulting over objects, going into cover, everything is precise and just satisfying. His movement is so engaging that I've spent hours just climbing and vaulting over stuff for no reason. The animations haven't aged a single bit. They still feel amazing. If you're interested, I plan to cover Watch Dogs 2 in a future video. Subscribe to catch it when it drops. This parkour system is also what makes combat so much fun. Being in stealth missions, moving around as Aiden, taking out guys one by one with takedowns and environmental hacking, it's a total joy. Every time a mission drops you into an area full of enemies, I get genuinely excited. Scoping out the area, setting up diversions, blowing stuff up with the hacking system, it just all feels so good. There's even a cinematic quality to it that still surprises me, especially for a game this old. Sure, the sequels expanded the hacking system a lot in terms of number, but I think this game hits the sweet spot. Later games feel like they overdo it. Yeah, the game really spams some of its hacking tropes, like that dumb little intrude puzzle thing. It's fun the first 15 times or so, but after that it gets super repetitive and makes no sense. Most story missions just have you hacking CCTV cameras, doing these puzzles and following the beat-by-beat story. It ends up feeling pretty underwhelming. The shooting feels awesome too. There are tons of guns, but your silenced pistol is your best friend because this game is all about stealth. Sure, you can go guns blazing, but honestly, stealth just feels way better in this game. Mixing hacking with finishers and the occasional pistol headshot is where the real fun is, and it's one of the reasons this game still feels timeless. I also want to briefly touch on the driving, which is a huge part of the gameplay experience. Honestly, the first few hours of driving in this game always feel weird. The cars are unresponsive and feel weightless, like you're just sliding around. But after a while, it clicks and driving becomes really fun. It's way different from other open world games, very arcadey, which makes smashing through objects and finding creative shortcuts during chases a blast. Motorcycles are even faster, and I had a ton of fun cruising around and hitting some stunt jumps. Hacking really changes up driving too. One major drawback is that you can't shoot from vehicles, which makes up for some prolonged and tedious car chases, but messing with traffic lights or triggering environmental explosions to take out your pursuers creates some cinematic over-the-top moments. But yeah, the driving alone is enough to make me return to this game every year. I could easily spend hours driving through this rainy Chicago, listening to a podcast or music, completely absorbed by the atmosphere. It is really that good. On the subject of rain, it's the perfect moment to discuss our trenchcoat man and his story. And yes, I'll admit, that was a pretty smooth segue. Rather than breaking the story down beat by beat with spoilers as I typically do, I'll instead concentrate on evaluating what succeeds in its execution and where it falters. At its core, Watch Dogs follows Aiden Pierce, the trench-coated grey hat hacker who takes on the role of a modern vigilante. The narrative begins with a failed electronic heist at the Milot, orchestrated by Aiden and his partner Damien Brenks. The fallout from this botched job leads to a hit being placed on Aiden, which tragically results in the death of his young niece, Lena, setting the stage for a revenge tale. Watch Dogs presents one of the least complex narratives I have ever encountered in gaming, that I actually ended up really liking. Its story lacks subtlety, focusing almost entirely on Aiden's pursuit of revenge. The narrative immerses you in Aiden's perspective, revealing how his past traumas shape his mistrust and insecurities toward those around him. Aiden Pierce remains one of the most divisive characters in gaming. Critics often label him as dull, yet many players, myself included, appreciate his design and personality. Aiden is a compelling character. What stands out about Aiden is his grounded realism. Unlike more charismatic protagonists such as Marcus Holloway in Watch Dogs 2, Aiden is an ordinary man, the kind who could live next door. This lack of spectacle gives him a uniquely authentic and relatable presence. Aiden is shaped by loss and grief, and critics' complaints about him being dull and uncharismatic, I feel, miss the point. He may not be someone you'd hang out with, but he feels human. What resonated most for me was Aiden's self-righteous loner persona, which provided the strongest narrative thread. By contrast, the corporate espionage, mob conflicts, and hacker thriller elements felt bloated and less effective in execution. While the darker, more somber tone lends some depth to individual moments, on a broader scale it fails to elevate the narrative in a meaningful way. This story's greatest weakness lies in its underdeveloped supporting cast. Beyond Aiden, few characters are meaningfully explored. Jodie Chin, for instance, is easily the most charismatic figure in the narrative, yet his appearances are fleeting. Similarly, Clara Lill had the potential to become a compelling counterpart and perhaps even a love interest for Aiden, but her narrative is disappointingly brief. Raymond Kenny, on the other hand, is another standout personality, yet his introduction comes far too late in the narrative to leave a meaningful impact. While he brings depth and intrigue, his late arrival diminishes his relevance to the overall story. The narrative's over-reliance on Aiden as the sole focal point strengthens his individual characterization, but it undermines the broader story and ultimately limits his growth. Despite its flaws, the narrative delivers several memorable beats, with twists and moments of deception that keep it engaging enough. While it certainly fell short of the lofty expectations set by its marketing, I still find it memorable, largely due to its somber tone and the strong, atmospheric presence of Chicago. In the end, Watch Dogs is undeniably flawed, marred by technical issues, padding, and a story that rarely rises above average. Yet, the Chicago Ubisoft created remains magnetic both visually and mechanically, offering a sandbox where hacking genuinely feels empowering. Its smooth gameplay systems and serviceable narrative ensure it stands as a game that, while failing to meet its lofty promises, still left a distinct mark. As I've mentioned before on the channel, I often imagine a ground-up remake of Watch Dogs, one that fulfills the original vision, embracing the darker tone and hacking mechanics. Alternatively, it could be a sequel that continues Aiden Pierce's grounded narrative would be remarkable, though such a thing seems unlikely. We got 2 more games in this franchise, both of which are better overall products, but the original Watch Dogs remains more impactful in terms of lasting impression. And it is the greatest ever mediocre game I've ever played. What are your thoughts on Watch Dogs? Are you in the spectrum of loving cult like me? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for your time. Rax Plays, signing off.
I called the cops. You didn't. Oh, yeah, true story. So, cops arrive, and Maurice's little band of brothers arrive, and pow, 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 pow.